Hi. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner. Welcome back to my channel. And we are still continuing. Yes, apparently today I decided I'm just gonna get through this. Gonna try anyway. We're recapping Young, Famous, and African season 2, episode 6, and it's called Oh Baby. This is 37-minute long episodes, so we'll see what this is giving. Here, I think where it's going to leave off at is Swanky's event where he dropped the bombshell, the Bontan. She's not going to be on the show anymore, or a part of the group, I guess. And Louis just wants to leave, and yeah, we'll see where it's at right now. So everyone's noticing Swanky's behavior is not normal, which it isn't, really isn't. Unfortunately, Louis getting the brunt of it. And Conti called something out that I didn't even think of. And because he's still going off. This is the episode's leaving off where everyone's exiting and he's still going off and Nadia's trying to reason with him. She's not really yelling at him. She's just trying to reason with him and he's not listening. He's just listening. He's listening. He's hearing to respond. He's not really listening. It's in one ear out the other type thing. But anyway, Conti makes a good point. She's like, he's mourning the loss of his friendship. And he's kind of just, this energy is misplaced, pretty much. So Conti, since she's there this time, she is consoling Louis, and he feels better now because it wasn't just Conti that had his back. Nadia had his back. Everyone else kind of left too, kind of like Destiny's Child out there. And Swanky was kind of by himself with egg on face because Swanky, he's going through it because that relationship of him and Annie ending, it's killing him. And I could tell it is. It's hurting him more than anything. And he hasn't really, he mentioned it's broken his heart, but he's not really, it's really hurting him because that was his best friend. And I would feel away too. A friendship breakup is just as bad as a boyfriend breakup, girlfriend breakup. It's just as bad. It's sometimes it's worse because sometimes your best friend knows more than even like your significant other, depending on how long things have been. And that's what he's going through right now. But Louis, he does feel better now because he's like, everyone is seeing what I'm talking about. I'm not crazy. And I also had people who had my back. So hopefully he sticks with being with the group, and hopefully Swanky does eventually apologize to him because he really didn't do anything wrong, and this is kind of some BS. Oh my God, Louis, as much as I want to like you, you do some stupid ish like this. So after Connie has basically consoled him, remember how I mentioned Louis wants to have a kid? It was just brought out to the world that Zari wants to have a kid too via surrogacy. So they both want to do the surrogate thing. And now Louis wants Connie's advice to see if it'll be a good idea if they do the surrogacy thing together, like AKA Zari is an egg donor and he is a sperm donor, and make it be a thing, and then voila, the end. They don't actually have to do this, science, the science part of it all. And he wants to know what the thoughts are with that. And Connie is like, I know you lying. She is giving this look like, I know you lying. I literally just came out here just to console you about you basically being attacked and bullied to this. It's like, it almost comes off as Louis just wants Diamond's life, because this is like the third time where he's intertwining with a Diamond situation. It's weird. It's weird. So now in the next scene, after the debacle of that, Swanky is out with Caitlyn getting drinks. And it's weird. At the beginning of this season, it seemed like Annie's judgment was clouded, and now Swanky's judgment is clouded. I think when Swanky was ignoring Annie and just like doing him, it wasn't so bad. But now that he has gotten no closure and he met up with her and they still are where they're at, he is behaving so much worse now. So what's happening now is he basically feels like he was bullied because of the fact that no one had Bontan's back, even though Bontan literally did the most. It was her fault. I mean, she did that. She went off on this man and basically demasculated him in front of the whole entire group for no reason, for real, other than the fact that she thinks he's lying. So I think two things can be true. I think Bonan was wrong, right? But Nadia took Louis' side, and she kind of high-key did, no questions asked, because she doesn't mess with Bonan. She doesn't. And Connie, kind of the same thing. So it kind of makes you question, did you do this because of the fact that you really felt that Louis was being bullied, or using Louis as a pawn to get Bonan out of there because you guys don't like her? While Swanky and Caitlyn are meeting up on the opposite scene, same scene, we have Connie and Nadia meeting up. And I will say this, I like Nadia's outfit because it's a Guns N' Roses shirt. That's the only reason why I like her outfit. She's casual today. She's like, I ain't got time to get dressed up all cute. And it's honestly the first time I think I've ever seen anyone super casual. But she has a Guns N' Roses shirt on. And for that, okay. You got me for that. So the next event that's coming up is actually Zari's birthday. So I already understand why this episode is called Oh Baby, I think. Well, I kind of knew because of what Louis said. But Swanky's talking about how he's not going to his birthday party. He's going to his birthday party. Spoiler alert. I didn't watch the episode. I just don't need to watch it to know he's going. But Caitlyn's like, you need to go. What are you doing? And she's like, I better see you there. That's simple. So because Bontan, I guess, like exited herself out of the paint herself, Louis is actually taking Fantana out on the date. I'm still not understanding why he wants to do that, considering the fact that she gave him that whack ass ultimatum. I'm kind of like, okay, whatever. But as we can tell, his judgment be different. Like, he seems like a nice person, but his judgment is just different. But anyway, it starts off the scene where like this guy's dancing in the ring. It looks like a cute date. So we'll see what he's bringing when it comes to this date. What's happening is they're doing a dance class. And yeah, I like this date idea. I really like this date idea. I would love for someone to take me out on dance classes for a date. I would love that. Just saying. So Louis, I see why you did that. You shady for that. You a little shady. So he's like, we're doing this dancing, but she can't dance. She really can't dance. And she even says, she's like, I'm an average twerker. But she literally, I mean, Quietus kept allegedly she has BBL. She looks like she has a BBL. I don't know if she does or not, but it doesn't. The body don't seem natural. And he basically said something shady in the confessional. He's like, I don't understand. Like, you're moving, but it's not. You're on the 2 instead of the 1. Like he kind of said that, but then he also said like, I'm just confused. Like, you're moving, but your butt's not moving. Why do you have this big booty, but the booty ain't moving? You know, that happens also. I'm not saying this is the case, but that also happens when you don't have a good BBL. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I didn't say it though. I just said that happens when, you know, you got a cheap BBL. So this scene concludes with Luis and Fantana. The date ends, but in Luis's confessional, he's basically saying like, hey, I did my part. We went on this date. I am feeling her. Hopefully she's feeling me, and the ball's in her court. So I think the date did turn out pretty well, and we'll see what goes with that. In the next scene, we have Andale. He's going to get a nice suit tailored. And yeah, that's where we're at. Tailor suit shop that Andale is at getting, you know, he just got a new suit, freshly tailored. He already shopped. Naked is meeting him there, and they're gonna have a conversation, and we'll see what goes from there. So we find out new developments with this. Andale and Zari are no longer a thing. They broke up, and he tried to like zhuzh it up and say like they both decided to amicably part, but Naked saw through. It was like, oh, she dumped you, and apparently, Andale's POV is he feels used. He felt like he was being used to probably make Diamond jealous or something. We're not exactly sure what happened there, because I'm hoping there's going to be a contrasting scene where Zari states her POV of what happened there. But they're no longer a thing. They're friendly still, but they're no longer a thing. So Naked is staying in his confessional as he's talking, consoling Andale, that he's actually seeing a change in Andale in his old ways. Andale really did fall for Zari. He kind of kept it coy when it came to like talking about it out loud until now, but he really wanted that. He wanted the relationship, like a stable relationship, stability. And Naked basically stated a good point that, you know, he has 4 children. I guess all of them are daughters. Okay. I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard this, that men who have daughters is because they were pros. What rhymes with pros? In the streets. And that's why daughters happen to, you know, balance you out, if you will, and hopefully help you change your ways. That's what I've heard, but I kind of like was like, all of them are daughters. That's kind of why I gave that kind of reaction a little bit. But in a serious note, Naked is saying like, hey, I think he really does want stability because his daughters are getting older, and he wants that, and he's feeling that pressure of doing that, but I think he's actually getting it now. So in the next scene, Andale is still trying to discover what he needs to do to, you know, basically get himself together to really truly love and to really truly find a partner. And because he's at that step in his life where he really is ready for that. And so he invited 2 of his baby moms. One of them, they're best friends. And the other one, there's some complications there. He didn't state what it was yet, but they're going to be meeting him for lunch, but then he also invited Annie and Tubaba, because we now kind of understand why Andale has gravitated towards him so hard, because he sees a lot of their complications and all things they have going on in his relationships with his the mothers of his children. So there's a lot of parallels he sees with them, but he sees that they're on the other side. They're still willing to make things work. And I think he wants that for himself. So that's why him and Annie have grown so close. So I guess one thing I will say when it comes to this scene, and just in general, I do love that. I love Andale and Annie's relationship, because that's kind of one of the only relationships I think Annie is true. It's a true relationship. It goes both ways, because Annie sometimes has a self-absorbed side to her where it's about her. And I think when it comes to Andale, it's not like that. It seems like it's very mutually beneficial of a relationship. Like there's true respect there. I'm not sure anymore if it's like that for Swanky and Annie. It clearly doesn't seem like it is. Not to bring it up with this, but I guess I'm just noticing a parallel and a major difference between the friendship dynamics when it comes to Annie and some of the others, and Annie and Andale. I think with Annie and Andale, there's just more of a genuineness between both of them. And I don't see that for Annie when it comes to anyone else. But I also don't think Annie feels safe really with anyone else. Even Swanky to a certain extent, I think she didn't always, I don't know what happened there. I don't know if there's something just behind the scenes prior to them being on the show that the safety fear factor just was not always there. But who knows if we'll get that resolved or not, so we'll see. So with one of the baby mamas, she got introduced to this scene. I don't know if she's now gonna be part of the cast now. I will post her in here. I already did forget her name. Because they went through it very briefly. I know she's there for the launch, but Andale lit up immediately when she got there. And it was a different light up than even with him and Zari. He is smiling from ear to ear. He really loves this woman. And the story that even what she told in the confessional, because she got a confessional, so she might be a new addition to this show. She mentions like, hey, they've both been on and off with each other for years. They both even moved on and both got married separately. And when that ended, they just always make their ways back to each other. And I will say this, they look good together. Andale was already an attractive man, but he looks like an extremely attractive man next to her. Like them two, it's like peanut butter and jelly. And even Tubaba and Annie called out in their individual confessionals, like, so we'll see what happens there. Oh, jeez. Something got me. They got me. Hook, line, and sinker. So Andale asked Tubaba what made him realize he needed to settle down and be with Annie. Finally, just like stop him basically running these streets. Because I'm not on the side of believing the rumors. Because they're saying that it's not true, I'm going to believe it. Okay? So outside of that, so let's pretend that those rumors don't exist. And from this standpoint, it doesn't seem like it is true, but who knows? So, but Tubaba's answer it was such a genuine, true answer, because you didn't have someone like Nadia trying to set him up for failure. This scene, I'm talking a lot because I love this scene. This is a great scene. But it kind of tugged at my heartstring a little bit because I could kind of identify with it a little bit. So Baba's answer was like, when I got my first house, when I built my first house and realized I was going to be in that house alone. That's when I realized, yeah, I need to lock it in. I need to be with who is mine. Because the way Andale prefaced the question, he's like, when did you decide that you need to lock in what is yours? Instead of playing all these games. And that was his answer. And Andale's response was like, similar to mine, because I'm just like, because Andale is actually in the middle of building a house. And his baby's mom is comforting him as he's explaining this story because she knew that. And in his confessional, he's like, yeah, they don't know this, but I'm building a house. And now the realization that I could be walking in this house and I'm going to be alone. Yeah. And that kind of got me a little bit because I'm getting a house. And I'm single. But I also am not in a situation where I'm playing games with someone, so it's a little different. But I feel like anyone who has that kind of, the gist of what I'm getting from this scene is you finally are getting you're getting some form of financial stability and literally some grounding stability, because getting a house is like, that's some stability. But once you have a stability, human nature, you want to share that with someone, right? That's what I'm getting from this. So beautiful. Well done. So in the next scene, it is Zari meeting up with Connie. And this is going to be interesting because they don't really get along anymore. I guess before Annie came into the picture, they kind of were amicable. But now things have been a little interesting. So we'll see what the meeting is about and go from there. So Connie is up to doing her bone collecting that she does, because she also bone collects too. There's multiple bone collectors on the show if you haven't figured it out. But Connie, the way she delivers it is like reality TV gold. I'll just say it that way. I prefer her method of anyone, because she kind of brings the drama, but like in a non-petty way, in a way where discussions need to be had type thing. I don't know why. I just love Connie. I just do. I love her. But anyway, so she is meeting up with Zari to basically relay the message that Louis gave her. Sorry. So just as fast as Louis and Zari were becoming cool, it ended already very quickly, because Conti delivered the message, but not in this messy way. She delivered the message actually in the most delicate way possible. It really wasn't messy. It was truly, I actually am like, bravo, that was not messy. She told the truth and said what she said. And Zari just kind of feels offended because she's like, I'm not a baby maker. Like, I'm her. Because one thing that Louis, I think, doesn't realize, and I don't understand why he hasn't yet, these women on this show have very strong personalities. You can't come at them sideways. You need to be very, very intentional. You can't have your views, like, even though he himself is very sensitive and soft, you still have to watch your words. You already had a problem with Bantan, who had an overly strong personality to the point where no one really liked her. A lot of the women didn't like her. Zari, a lot of the women get along with her now, but she's kind of have a similar strong personality too, that it's just like, I don't know, it's the timing. Timing is important. Maybe after a couple of years of him knowing Zari, that wouldn't come off disrespectful. But because they just met, it's all giving weird. Next scene, this thing is actually this it sounds like this episode is kind of more heavily involved with Andale and getting to know his life a little bit more, which I appreciate because there's a lot of Andale that we didn't really get to know the first season. We had like some ideas, but not really. So Montalay is the baby mom where things are complicated and there might be a chance of them getting back together. The other baby mom, he just mentioned briefly, I will get the name and put it here. He's meeting with her next, along with Montalay. Because the other one that was mentioned earlier is his best friend. There was nothing happening there. No happening, Captain. Not happening, Captain. Not happening, Captain. But Andalé's trying to get to the bottom of what went wrong in both those relationships, what parts he had to do with all that, so that he can then potentially move forward with Montalay. Because it's very clear he still has feelings with her, and I think also he's not saying it, and I'm also getting this from this. He never did not have feelings for her, and I think the situation he was entertaining with Zari helped him realize that. Because Zari has a similar situation with Diamond. She keeps trying to move on, but her and Diamond's chemistry is ridiculously undeniable. And high key, I feel like if Diamond was to stop being like a pro, Zari and Diamond would get back together and stay together. I think because he's running the streets is the only reason why they're not together. If he wasn't running those streets, Zari and Diamond would be together happily ever after. And I think he saw himself in that situation. And that's why when Zari even called Andale out, Zari was saying like, you and Diamond ain't that much different. Get it together or leave it alone. So I think there's a lot of messages being told. And I don't know if Andale is seeing it, but from me outside looking in, that's what I'm seeing with all of it overall. So I don't think Zari was being rude or being a jerk. I think she just saw, she had the foresight to see things a little bit better. So Rosette is the other baby mom, and she's the first baby mom of his children. And when I tell you, both of his women that he's had in his life, Rosette and Mantala, gorgeous. Gorgeous. Just like him. Just beautiful Black excellence. So Rosette she has a confessional. She's being very, very vulnerable about the situation. And she's stating that they had pretty tumultuous relationship, very toxic. So maybe this is a toxic one. I'm still I might be getting them confused. So they decided to have a baby together, and things went from bad to worse. Because apparently from her POV, from her confessional, he wasn't always around. And she felt like she was basically having this child, or basically being in a pregnancy by herself. That's how she felt. She felt very alone. And he was not really always present. And I'm wondering if she's going to actually say that to him in person and maybe help him figure out what he needs to do to be a better man so that he can move forward. But yeah, she said it was very toxic. And she's saying all this in tears. She broke down and cried in the confessional talking about it. Okay, I got clarity. Sorry. This is the best friend. I kind of thought it was the best friend one, but I guess when she was reflecting back, talking about the pregnancies and times when things weren't good, it just made her emotional. And it makes sense because a child was involved. Gabriella is, I guess, the firstborn. And they did show a picture of her, and she's gorgeous. Gorgeous. But two gorgeous people having a child producing gorgeous? So, the plot thickens. Rosette wants Andale. She still wants him. She wants that old thing back. And she just pretty much made it very clear when they just met up, like, hey, I ain't seen anyone. What's good? She pretty much said that. And he's like, no. He's like, you're my best friend. No. because he wants his other baby mama. That's the one he really is in love with. And we'll see how this meetup goes, because I think he's trying to make them bridge the gap, because I have a feeling part of the complications is his baby moms, I don't think, get along. Because probably due to him, and there probably might be some overlapping. I'm under the impression there's some overlapping. So this is interesting. I think what I said earlier about Zari having the foresight, I was right. Completely right. Similar dynamics here. So what it is that Rosette is basically Zari. She's playing the Zari role. She's a first baby mama, but like Montalet was actually in Andale's life first. So Andale and Montalet dated first and were together first on and off. And then during one of the off times, that's when he met Rosette, and that's when they had a child together. And then Rosette came back into the life, not Rosette, Montalet came back into Andale's life. But Rosette and Andale have a very close relationship due to them co-parenting. But Rosette, she needs to keep it a buck just a little bit. She wants that man. And trying to mask it as in all the women that's ever been in Andale's life feels threatened. They feel threatened because they see that you want her, you want Andale. And I feel like it's a similar thing as Zari and Diamond. It's like the same thing, only it's other people. So it's just interesting that Zari saw the foresight of it all. And yeah, it's interesting. It's all very interesting. This is gonna be messy because Rosette clearly does not respect Montalet. She doesn't respect her. Because Andale is trying to bridge a gap and bring them together so they can all, because at one point in time, they all were able to work as a cohesive unit. Like Montalet was Andale's woman while Rosette was a baby mama, and they knew their roles. Somehow things got not good and it's never really came out of it. And now Rosette don't really respect her, and she does state in her confessional, I don't hate her, but I'm not her cheerleader either. I really rather him be with someone else. And she already alluded that she really wants someone else to be her, but we'll see how that goes. So in the next scene here, we have Zari's birthday celebration. And when I tell you the ambiance of this was beautiful, she has African dancers dancing to the mansion that they're going to be in. And she has her African garb on, like just looking gorgeous, looking like a snack. And yeah, this is, I think, going to be the event that brings everyone together to conclude this episode. And we'll see what kind of things happen here. Everyone that is showing up to this party is wearing their garbs, wearing their African garbs. And also too, I did mention this, it looks like the baby moms are now part of the cast. Since Bontan's out. Montalet, and well, I see at least Rosette, she's showing up. I don't know if Montalet is going to show up or not. Andale might have invited them. Who knows? We'll see. But right now, the person who's walking in is Rosette. So apparently she's come to this party too. We'll see who else attends and what happens. Andale is being back to his messy self. He did invite both those baby mamas. to Zari's birthday party. You know, his love interest, who he was seeing. And he thought this was a good idea. And Zari and Rosette were sitting right next to each other at the beginning before he showed up because he did not show up on time. Like, I guess if you're gonna do that, invite plus ones, because Zari didn't invite these people. It's a plus one of Andale. Technically, he did a plus two. Shouldn't you show up, make sure you show up early and tell them that that's what's happening? This is gonna be messy. I already see where this is going. In Zari's confessional, she right away says, "I don't want any drama. I'm gonna keep it to myself." So I don't think Zari's gonna be the problem. I think she has already made up her mind. It's her birthday. She ain't doing all that. And I don't see it happening anyway because I think she's the one who broke it off. So, and also she's alluded multiple times. She has a boyfriend, and clearly it's not Andale. She has a boyfriend. So the group is finally giving their POV on it, and Caitlyn was the first one to say what she needed to say, not in front of everyone, but just in the confessional. She straight up said, like, their co-parenting situation is weird, and from what I'm gathering, it's even weirder than Zari and Diamond's, which is probably the other reason why Zari did not want to be part of this, because I think everyone knew this about Andale, and us, the audience, are now getting to know this. Child, Rosette do not like that lady. He does not like Montalyn at all. The drama on her face, the look that she gave right when she walked in. And Zari's just like, oh my gosh. Because this isn't her drama. She's not really part of this drama, even though it's at her event, her birthday. I would feel away. Andale, why do you do this? Anyway, and then Conti, she's like, everyone's reaction is just giving the same thing, like, oh my gosh, why would you invite both your baby mamas to a birthday celebration when you know they don't really see it for each other? This is not the place to do that. It sounded like Andale was gonna do this in a different setting when it's just the three of them, but instead he's doing it here. It's crazy. So I'm finding out more. Andale is so messy. He didn't tell Rosette that he invited her too. And also, side note, they all apparently know each other, the group. So Andale is like, this clique has been a clique much longer than we probably realized. Some of the people are new players when we saw them season one, but a lot of them already knew each other already. Because Andale and Naked, they've been friends for a long time. Same thing with Andale and Diamond and a lot of people. So basically both the baby moms have been part of this group in multiple ways, in different capacities, in different times. Sometimes overlapping, but I think when they did overlap, when they both were part of the group is when they were getting along. But that's not today, so child. So Andale is basically directing where these women sit. And none of them are sitting near him, even though they really don't know the rest of the group like that other than through him. And they're not sitting next to each other, which at least that part, sir, you're on point with. But Montalay don't really know anyone else other than Andale, so it's really awkward. Rosette at least knows other people in the group, so it's not as weird. But both of them are they're both mad. The thing is, the good news is Andale is getting them to probably be on the same page because they're both looking at him like, what is wrong with you? Why would you do this? But if he's thinking this is personal growth, this ain't it, sir. You need to go back to the drawing board. Shot. Oh my gosh. Louis, I love you. I love you for this. So when Louis be making sense, he be making sense. The problem is when he don't. There's like no happy medium with him. And one of the things was he asked, I think he asked Rosette, like how does she know people in the group? And she said she's, Andale's baby mama. And then He was like, how about you, Montalay? Because they're both sitting in between him. So he's going to conversate with them because they're right there. And so then, so then he asked Montalay, she's like, oh yeah. And then Montalay's like, yeah, we have similar taste. And he just has this look, deer in the headlights look like. That look was priceless. Honestly, I'm going to find that. I'm going to post it, and then you'll see what I'm talking about, because that is a meme. That right there is a whole entire meme. He's like, I've never sat, and he says, confessional, I've never been to a party where two of the baby mamas are there, and it's all good. This is weird. This is mad awkward. So the two women are already talking now, because Louise asking the questions of how they know each other basically set it off where they could talk to each other, because they're actually closer sitting with each other. The only thing that's separating them two is the chair and Louise, but they're basically right next to each other where they could talk to each other easily. So what Andale was hoping that the business not to get out there, it's an epic fail. I don't know why he thought what was happening there was going to be a good idea. It probably would have made more sense if he was sat in between them and be like, hey, let's not do this here. But instead, his approach is not the correct approach, and we knew it wasn't going to be. None of it, all of it's wrong. It's all wrong. Throw them in the garbage. Basula. None of it's right. So, yeah. It's basula. Basula. I know we're watching an African show, but yeah, the Spanish is coming out right now. Basula. So then, so basically, they're already talking about how they went from being best friends to not, and Rosette isn't understanding why, and Montalay is like, boundaries. There wasn't any, and that's the problem. And right now, voices aren't getting elevated yet, and hopefully it doesn't. But the conversation that they already are having the conversation and in front of everyone already. That's what's happening. Rosé already went to hell with it. They were good, and Montalay, you know what? Already, I'm taking Montalay's side on this. So Montalay was asking questions in the matter of boundaries, and just really trying to have a heart-to-heart with Rosette on why things changed when it came to their friendship. Because they actually had a friendship, it sounds like. And Rosette already just response was like, so is that why you had a baby with him? Child, rule 101. If you want there to be a moving forward in any type of relationship, you don't bring the kids involved with it. And the fact that you brought the kids involved, no. After that, if I was Montalay, I would be like, okay, this is nice. Thank you, Andale, for the invite. This was nice talking to you. I must go now. There's nothing else to discuss now at this point, at least in my opinion, because you brought my kids into this. Why? That was a dig. And then in the confessional, they show Conti, and Conti's like, oh, because no. And then Luis continue having the same look, and I'm going to keep posting it. Child. So what's killing me is, and what we found out is exactly what I said, there was relationship overlap. He kept dabbling between the two of them. So yes, there's going to be issues. But the thing is, Montalay, to her, what I don't agree with her doing is she's putting the frustration she has is slightly misdirected. Yeah, Rosé plays a part in it, but not all of it. You need to have that same energy with Andale as well. It needs to be both. You let this man dibble and dabble between the two of you and treat you both like objects, essentially. And instead of you going back and forth with each other, maybe y'all should go to that man and check him and tell him how that made you feel, instead of going back and forth with each other. I don't think they're ready to truly have that kind of conversation yet, because they both still want this man and still are playing pick-me's for this man. It's obvious that's kind of what's happening a little bit here, because they are still going by. They still want him. Both of them do. It's clear. But it's like, no. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Check him. Hold him accountable for what he did here. Maybe they did behind the scenes already, but maybe you need to reiterate that before you guys go back and forth with each other. Rosette doesn't want friendship with her. It's clear. And at this point, Andale, I'm disappointed in Andale so much on so many levels with this scene. I thought he was evolving, and this scene makes me realize he still has not figured it out. Because as soon as it started getting flagrant like this, because they're still going back and forth, and Rosette continues to do these digs and continues to put this woman's business out there. So the next thing she says about Montalais is that, what about you cheating on your husband? In front of everyone. Andale needs to check her. It should never go that far. I'm sorry. I don't want to be with anyone that isn't aware enough to check a situation when things are going too far. If you want this man as a partner, and I'm speaking to both of them. I'm speaking directly to both of you. If you want this man as your partner, the fact that he's not checking this situation and like stopping y'all from going back and forth in front of his group of friends, no, not worth fighting for. Not at all. Not at all. That's a beta move. And I'm saying that with my chest. So when we thought things were bad already, because Andale finally did go between them to try to stop them from arguing, but it looked like, to Montalais' defense, he is immediately taking Rosette's side. Even though Rosette was the one who's just throwing the daggers at this lady. Montalais was trying to have a mature conversation, and Rosette didn't want any part of it. It's very clear. And then finally Fantana broke all of it up, thank God, because she was talking to Zari about it while all this is happening, and then basically relayed the message that Zari, wanted to say without Zari getting involved, because Zari don't want any parts of it, clearly, because it's her birthday. But Fantana came between all of them, was like, this is Zari's birthday, can y'all stop this? Like, this ain't the place to do this. And so they stopped. But as this is happening, Swanky has showed up and he ain't happy. He's still mad about what happened, the response to Bontan leaving the group and how she was treated. So it's about to get the mess is going to continue. Just refocus, if you will. We're at the part where Zari does a toast, because everyone's there now. She does a toast, and she basically states, we're all beautiful. This is a representation of African beauty. And then they show the food, and the food was given when Neesby gave. Chef's kiss. So the scene ends with basically Louise was giving like a speech and basically trying to bless Zari. And while this is happening, and even right before this happened, everyone thinks, after he does the blessing, everyone is thinking that Louise is going to ask the question about the surrogacy thing to Zari right away. Because unbeknownst, I don't think it's known, I feel like it's definitely not known, Conti told like everybody in the group. By everybody, she told Nadia, which by the way, if you tell Nadia, forget it, everyone knows now. Zari already knows about it, so she's trying to brace herself, hoping that he's not going to do it here. And he didn't, thank God. But then Nadia, and her overly messy self, the person who I cannot stand in this group, tells Fantana about the whole deal. And Fantana is like, okay, this dude is weird. So she went from liking him and giving him a chance of potentially dating him to now she no longer has interest because of the fact that he wants to potentially work with Zari for surrogacy. And he's like, she thinks it's weird, because it is. Let's not call a thing. That is very weird and messy, which again, it is. But I think Luis isn't really thinking about it from that standpoint, because I don't know. It just seems like he just lacks social cues and understands social normalcies and realize certain things are messy and certain things you shouldn't be doing. And so as Nadia is telling Fantana is then telling Swanky, and Nany is also telling Swanky. And Swanky already isn't seeing it for this dude, because again, I think I mentioned he's still mad about the whole situation of Bontan leaving the group, and he feels like that Nadia and like Conti took Luis's side without hearing the other side. Like they basically are having a similar argument with each other. There's still underlying tension for similar issues. So Nadia, when she was trying to say her POV to Swanky in the last episode, she was stating in the confessional, like, he's not listening to me. He's not hearing the other side. And so they're not hearing each other's side when it comes to the conflicts, especially that particular conflict. So as he's giving the speech, Swanky's getting annoyed, rolling his eyes, and also Fantana's like his girl. That's like his friend. So after the speech is over with, he was gonna go and sit next to Fantana. Well, he then tells Fantana, hey, can you put a seat in between y'all and sit there so that they're separated by a seat? And clearly, yes, Luis feels a way about that and calls it out. He's like, what is this? Like, I don't understand what the conflict is. And then Swanky started getting loud with him. And Luis is thinking, okay, he's now trying to make me fight him. And Luis keeps saying, I'm not a fighter. So he proceeds to get up and he was about to leave. He actually said happy birthday to Zari and was about to leave. And everyone's telling him, sit down, don't do that. And Swanky's like, basically still just being like ridiculous about it. And then puts the business out there in front of everyone now. So the people who were whispering about this those were people who knew. But then he proceeds to then tell everyone in the whole entire group about how he wants to he wants to do this with Zari. He wants to do the situation with Zari. So, and as an insult, of course. So Zari is now completely embarrassed, and so is Luis. Because he wasn't really ready to state that situation quite yet. He wanted to tell her a different time. I think he wanted to do it one-on-one. I think he actually legitimately had the intention of doing respectively, and not in a way where it's in front of the whole entire group. So now it leaves where Luis and Swanky are still arguing, because now Luis is truly all the way in. He's already fully engaged. He's activated, essentially. So they're still arguing. And that's where the episode ends. So I believe the next episodes, of course, can pick up off of that. And I'm hoping Swanky really sorts out his underlying issues that he has, which has nothing to do with, I don't think his issues have really much to do with most of the things he's saying. I think Connie is right. Conti's correct. Where his issues are, he still does not have his issues sorted out with Annie. I think that's his real issue. I think the rest of his anger is completely misdirected. And I'll be honest, Swanky's energy this season is not the energy I love from him. I don't like it for him. He is not meant to be an angry person, because the angry Swanky is not a good Swanky. A happy Kumbaya Swanky is the correct type of Swanky. Let's just be clear. It just is. The group as a whole is better when he's like that. And right now, they're just falling apart still. Because Swanky outwardly looks like he's doing the most. And he's alienating himself without trying to. But also Luis, he's new to this group. So he's an easy punching bag when it comes to the BS, unfortunately. But he also has a tendency of putting his foot in his mouth, so it's not helping his cause. But anyway, that is the end of the episode. Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and I will see you next time. Bye.